what gives you inspiration?
So what gives me inspiration, what gets me up out of bed in the morning? I mean, to tell you the truth, the thing that really I love getting up out of bed in the morning is going and reading my Bible. You know, that's how I get up almost every morning, unless I have some kind of an emergency on my hands. I get up and I try to read, 4 chapters a day. So I have 2 chapters in the Old Testament, 2 chapters in the New Testament, and just try to. I can feel like the Holy Spirit. I can just feel like some kind of a connection, just about every day. God blesses me with that, and just try to listen to Him. And to, as a Catholic, to His mother, Our Lady, and what they would like me to do that day, and try to do what they asked me to do, and what Yehotan asked me to do.
How did you come from Yale to this?
Okay, she asked me how did I come from Yale to this. Okay, that's going to require a little bit longer of an answer. So I am a graduate of Yale Law School. People are very surprised to hear that because Yale is very, very far to the left. And I'm also actually a graduate of Yale Divinity School. I have a master's in divinity. I was a Methodist minister for a couple of years. My husband was a Methodist minister for over 20 years and converted to the Catholic faith. He's now a Catholic priest. So I'm one of the very few women in the world who's legitimately married to a Catholic priest. So when I was at Yale, I loved Yale. I was completely a part of the community. I was very far to the left, just like everybody else. There was no conflict, no tension between me and the culture there at all. I completely embraced it. Then, a couple things happened. One thing that happened was that that Bill Clinton, who is a Yale Law School graduate also, gave China the most favored nation status, which I knew, and he delinked it from human rights in China. And I knew that human rights in China was going to tank after that, and it absolutely did. So that was like the first thing. But then, I was an attorney. I worked really ridiculously hard. Like the most all-nighters I ever pulled in a row was 10, I think. And then I found out that the Guinness Book of World Records at the time was 11. So I probably would have pushed it out another day or two if I'd known that. But I got really, really sick. I had to leave the practice of law on a medical leave of absence. And what happened is I had major surgery. And in that surgery, I got something called a MRSA, MRSA staph infection, which is a drug-resistant staph infection, and there was a long time there we didn't know whether I would live or whether I would die, and so I was like on federal disability for 5 years, and I just remember just going overnight from being like this high-powered attorney to being somebody who was flat on my back begging God to save my life. And I said to him, if I live, I would like you to make my life worth living. I would like to use all the energy I used to use as a lawyer and just representing big companies with a lot of money, but use it to advance your kingdom. And something I had done as an attorney, I think I mentioned to you before, that I was I represented a couple of refugees in their cases for political asylum, women who were victims of forced abortion in China. And I said to God, please break my heart for whatever breaks your heart. And He broke my heart for the women and the babies of China, that I just could not get it out of my system, that at that very moment women were being dragged out of their homes and strapped down to tables and forcibly aborted at 9 months. And some of these abortions were so violent that the women died along with their full-term babies. So when I got better, I took all the skills I learned as a litigation lawyer and applied them towards advocating on behalf of the women and the babies of China. And in the process of that, I just feel like I read the Bible for the first time cover to cover. I had gone to seminary, but I never had to actually read the Bible cover to cover. So I read it cover to cover, and what I realized is that my life had been, I had thought I was an excellent Christian. I had gone to seminary. I was married to a minister. I had been a minister myself. I was not stealing it from anybody. I was not committing adultery. I was not committing murder. I was not doing any of the things that you thought were bad or that I thought were bad. So I thought that I was, an exemplary Christian. But when I read the Bible cover to cover from Genesis to Revelation, the first time what I realized is that my life actually was not pleasing to the Lord at all. And that in a lot of ways, it was based on idolatry. This is something that I and what I mean by idolatry is anything that you hold ahead of God that's more important to you than God is an idol. And so I was, I was idolizing education, my own education. I was idolizing money. I was idolizing power. I was idolizing all kinds of stuff. And the Lord took all that stuff away from me. When I was sick, oh my gosh, did I lose money, power? And I didn't lose my education, but basically everything that I had been idolizing was taken away from me. So I was starting out from zero and having to build back up. So anyway, that's how and so then this whole different, I grew up in a family that was very ambitious, so I had a lot of ambition, like personal ambition. That became replaced during that illness through, reading the Bible and all of that with just wanting to serve God in gratitude for sparing my life. So the first thing I did is I started saving, women from forced abortion and exposing that, saving baby girls, sex-selective abortion in China, abandoned widows. And then when COVID hit, what I saw, because of my experience with the Chinese Communist Party, and especially with this digital ID that I mentioned to you, I saw the China social credit system written all over it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this system that I have been fighting against in China is coming to the entire world through the World Health Organization, through the United Nations, etc. Boy, does that get you up out of in the morning, We've got to tell people, we got to, sound the alarm and organize people to stop this.
Wow, wow.
That's it.